This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I am your host. I am your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 11 p.m. Eastern until 3 a.m. Eastern, right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and our growing family of broadcast affiliates right around this great big world of ours. Now, if you would like to send us an email, studio@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our radio website at xzoneradiotv.com. You know, one of the greatest parts about this job is I have the opportunity of speaking to some of the most interesting, caring, informative people in the world, and I can bring them to you, the members of the X-Zone Nation, so they can share their message and help this world of ours be a better place for one and all. Such is the case of my first guest tonight. Kayla Ambrose is our guest. She has written for the Huffington Post, the Examiner, AOL, Yahoo, and Fate magazine, and presents workshops nationally on the mind-spirit-body connection, including auras and energy fields, developing entrepreneur intuition, haunted history, and wisdom teachings at the Omega Institute. John Edward presents Infinite Quest, Edgar Casey's ARE, the Learning Annex, Lilydale Assembly, Daily Om, and through her online school, the Academy of Mystical Arts and Spiritual Seances. We're going to be talking to Kayla this hour about her new book published by our good friends at Llewellyn, The Awakened Psychic. If you'd like to get more information about Kayla after the show, people, not during the show, that's a no-no. No, it's not. You can do that and listen at the same time. I know you can. www.exploreyourspirit.com. And joining me now is a good friend of mine and a good friend of the X-Zone, Kayla Ambrose. And Kayla, always great having you back here in the X-Zone. How have you been, dear friend?
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be back. And I love your show. I love the intro, too. I love Oh Canada, the music there. And you know, I love Canada. I used to live in Alaska, so I've driven the Alcan Highway over there many times and passed in and out.
Well, it's great having you back with us. I always enjoy our conversations. They seem just to fly right by. But I want to congratulate you, first of all, on your new book, The Awakened Psychic. What's it about?
Thank you. I'm so excited. I just got a great review from Publishers Weekly, which was such an honor, and love that they like the book and are excited about it too. Mm-hmm. And the book basically is that I believe everyone has psychic ability, and that's what I'm passionate about teaching. Is it's great if you want to go to a psychic sometime and get some clarity. We all do that to hear, you know, someone who doesn't know us to get their opinion.
Sure.
But each of us have those abilities as well, and we can use it in our daily lives. And I've taught police officers, I've taught emergency rescue, I've taught people in the military, people in the United Nations, all types of people in finance and politics and the tech world, that how to tap into their intuition. And people already do it. They call it their gut feeling.
Yeah.
Or mother's intuition. And I just show them how to heighten that and really become the psychic that they're meant to be.
That is fantastic. And I know as an ex-police officer that I used to go with those gut feelings, those hunches.
Yeah.
And if you listen to that little voice inside of that feeling, you will never, ever, ever go wrong.
It's true. My father was a police officer, and I used to go to work with him and play detective, and I had my Nancy Drew kit that I brought with me.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
I would, look at the reports and listen to the guys talk, and they would talk about that. A lot of cases that they solved were really a feeling that they had about something, that this is the right direction, this is where we need to dig deeper, this is the person that we need to lean on more to get them to talk, And they're very psychic. They just don't want to call it that.
Well, I think thanks to people like you and other credible people within the psychic realm, that is changing, Kayla. And you and I will be discussing more on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone with our special guest of this hour, Kayla Ambrose. Once again, her new book, The Awakened Psychic, is published by our friends at Llewellyn, and you can visit Kayla's website at exploreyourspirit.com. I am Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. Kayla Ambrose and I return on the other side of this break as we continue broadcasting around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network and TalkStream Live from our studios here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience journey trance, power animals, helping spirits, sacred space, and life purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X-Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Kayla Ambrose is our very special guest. We're talking to Kayla today about her new book that has just been released by our good friends at Llewellyn, The Awakened Psychic. And Kayla's website is exploreyourspirit.com. Kayla, how does The Awakened Psychic, differ from other books that you've published? Like, you're a very busy lady.
Thank you. Yes, I've call myself your travel guide to the other side. And
I
I've
love
written a few
that.
books, and thank you. My other book with Llewellyn is the first in this series, actually, called The Awakened Aura, to teach people to see auras. And the psychic book is the second in the series. There's another one coming out with Llewellyn in this series, The Awakened Dreamer, from me, that'll be out next year. So I'm kind of covering all the bases. How this book, I think, is different, The Awakened Psychic, is I wanted to take the woo-woo out of this belief, which you were mentioning right before break, and that it's a normal ability that when we used to live more in the country, or out in the woods, that we relied on these things more because we had to. We had to have a heightened sense of our intuitive abilities,
right?
And so we picked up on things, and now that we've become more domesticated, we've kind of pushed that away and gone into the other side of the brain, thinking things out logically, which is good. We need to do that too. We can't be all, reactionary. But this is a natural ability that everyone has. It's not some super secret gift that only the few can have. And the only difference, I say, is that while I can train you in the book and I'll show you the techniques, you have to do the work. It's like anything. If you practice, the more intuitive you'll get. And that's kind of what I wanted to explain there. I wanted to debunk the myths of it, show that it is available to everyone, and if you will do the exercises that I put in the book, you'll become more psychic, and you'll learn the difference, too, between what's an intuitive hunch and what's psychic. An intuitive hunch is a feeling you have, but you have no real grounding on it. But when you're psychic, you have a knowing, as I call it, and you know this to be true, or you know it to be real. And I show people how to do that in very practical ways, how to use it in their business. I coach and I teach a lot of people that are in the finance world and tech world and other companies like that, how to see future trends 3 to 5 years ahead of time so that they can decide where they're taking their company and get a jump on it. And that's available. It's the techniques are there to learn to do and to see those future trends, whether you're building a business or you want to set goals for yourself personally, or you just want to be more intuitive to connect with your family and friends and understand them better too.
Where does the information that you, as a very gifted young lady, and those that you teach about your technique and how to get the mysticism out of the psychic realm, bring it back to the natural world where I believe it belongs as well. Where does this information come from that hasn't yet occurred?
Oh, where the information comes from? Well, what I say is that you already have all of the information inside of you. And that's what I do as your travel guide to the other side, is I teach you step by step how to unlock it. And it's right there, whether you call it your higher self, whether you're more scientific and you call it the super consciousness. It's that energy that's there, that you're opening, that conscious self that has the connection to the other side, where all that is already there. And we get lost because we're here on Earth in the third dimension of time, and so we see time as linear. We think it hasn't happened yet. Once we connect to the higher self or the super consciousness, we're in those higher planes of existence where time doesn't exist like we experience it right now on our earthly plane. So once we tap into that, there is no future in the same way. We can tap into what's coming or what has happened and do. And people ask me, okay, well, can you give me the lottery numbers, or can you tell me things like that? And you can't always see everything so perfectly. You feel it more and you sense it. And I remember one time someone was trying to get me to predict a football game, and I said, I can predict games that where there's a big upset and there's a lot of excitement, because you feel this emotional outburst that's so much greater. And so you can tap into those things in the future and feel that energy, but you still have to practice to discern what does that mean. Is that energy I'm feeling excited and happy, and can I tap into which team that is that won, or is it disappointment and a big upset, like one of the bigger college teams that was ranked number 3 just lost to a nobody team, and so there's a major upset. So you have to be able to practice and tap into which way it's going, but you could get that clarity where you could see which team's going to win. But it doesn't mean you'll know the exact score. That it's not like reading a newspaper where okay, it's 31-18 or something. So that's why I say it's an art and not a science. And I named my school that, the Academy of Mystical Arts and Spiritual Sciences. Some things are more scientific. You can go to that level, like astrology and things that are more mathematical. And some things are the art, where you're feeling it more, and it's it's not as concrete in that way.
If we have free will, how can the information that is brought back to a gifted psychic, how can that be so certain? Because you don't know, after giving somebody a reading, if based on the information that you gave them, it was based on them leaving the chair and turning to the right, getting into their car and either turning right or left. How does this work? Where does free will fit into the entire scenario?
I love that question. And if you are speaking to a psychic, anyone, if they have good ethics, they should be telling you that what they're telling you is what they see at the moment, and that you have the free will to change that outcome at any given minute. And any psychic that doesn't tell you that, walk away, because if they have good ethics, they're going to be truthful and tell you that. What I see as a psychic and someone who sees auras is I see what you're creating around you at the moment. You are creating kind of the path that you're on and where you're heading, with your thoughts, with your emotions, with your actions, with what you're worried about, with what you're attracting to you. So I see that in your aura. I see that in your field. When I go over and see your Akashic records and tap into the other things there, that's where I see is where you're heading based on the actions and thoughts and the direction you're going. If you decide 10 minutes later to change your thinking and change your life, change your actions, you've immediately changed your future. So the outcome is always fluid and can always change. What a psychic is seeing is just a projection of where you're heading based on, what you're doing, unless you change it, if that makes sense.
It does. Just let me scratch off this. Kayla cannot give me the winning lottery numbers. All right, so Craig will scratch that off.
If I could, Rob, I'd be talking to you from an island right now.
You see, that's what I love about you. You're very honest. You're very down to earth. You take the woo-woo out of the psychic field. And I believe, Kayla, that this is what the world needs more of, is get rid of the mysticism, get rid of the woo-ness surrounding it. And like you said, it's natural.
Yes, and it's every psychic should tell you, anyone who's doing this work, that like any other business or field or expertise, you have good days and not good days.
Sure.
And there are days where, if I'm sick, I'm not going to do a reading. If I'm not feeling my best, I'll tell my clients, this is not a good time, let's reschedule. And they trust me because they've been with me for years, and they appreciate that. They want me when I'm at my best and can give my best. And no one else has been held to the levels that psychics are. You take the best baseball player out there who can hit a home run on their, they never are guaranteed to hit a home run every single time they're up to bat. But somehow we've turned psychic ability to that you better be 100% of the time, or else it doesn't exist. And that's just not true. We're humans. We're, even with the information we get, we still have to process it as the person we are. And I learn more and better myself and better my craft every day, learning more and working on myself more. And that I guess that is honest. That's what I feel. It's like anything else. And I think that's why I've had clients for so many years, because they know me and they trust me, and I'm pretty accurate too, so it works out.
Plus, you're a real nice lady. But my question, the question I'm going to ask you, please, I don't want to offend anyone out there. Why would a person go to a psychic?
Well, I think that a lot of people go to them to tap into something that they want to know. And that, when you go to, okay, I'll tell you something funny, Rob. I've been in this business so long that I have over 15 therapists around the country that send their clients to me when their clients have gone through therapy. And they say, there's nothing more you can really talk about. It's time to take action. They say, go see Kayla, because she's going to psychically tap into what's going on with you, on that spiritual level. And then she's going to give you action items to go do to make your life better. And that's what I do as a psychic. I just don't tell you about some things coming. I say, look, here's how you can live your best life. Here's how you can, make this happen. I can see your dreams and these goals, and here's why you're not getting them, and here's what you can do to make that difference and go create your future, the future of your dreams. So I don't just tell you, I then give you information to go do better. And so it's taken it a step beyond therapy in that way, where with therapy you more just listen, right? Or the person listens, but they don't tell you too much to do.
Right.
So I guess I'm more of an active psychic guide. And I can only speak for me, why people see psychics are for all kinds of reasons.
Is it, I've heard it said and theorized that the future has already happened. What we're doing is we're living in the progression of our being through the future that has already been played out. And if this is true, is this what psychics could be tapping into?
Yes, that's kind of what I was talking about, stepping out of the confines of third dimension and going up into the fifth dimension, where, time and space don't react the same. So you can see the future, but it's just like you can see the ocean, or you can see a lake, or a pond, and you see what it looks like and what it's going to look like in an hour. But if you go throw a big rock in there, you can make a big splash and change the currents, and it'll still be the lake or the pond or the ocean, but it's going to have a different reaction. So you can kind of mess with your destiny a little bit like that, right? And that's the free will that you can do with it.
Has the internet been an asset or a hindrance to professional psychics like yourself?
I think the internet's amazing, and this is how I describe it. The Hindus describe the ages that we go through. They say we're ending the age of Kali Yuga and entering a new age. You hear others talk about the golden age to come. And in astrology, in Western astrology, we talk about we're in the age of Pisces. And I believe that we have left the age of Pisces and we're in the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius was known as the water bearer. He was up there with the gods, and they had all this. They had ambrosia, and they had, which was the food of the gods and the wisdom. And so he was feeding it to them and serving it to them, and he would look down from the clouds above and see humans suffering on the earth plane, and the gods wouldn't do anything to help. So when they weren't looking, he dipped his pitcher into the water with the wisdom, and he poured it over the side and let it come down and rain down to humans so they could receive this wisdom that the gods enjoyed. That's what the age of Aquarius is about. And it means that this wisdom just literally comes like out of the air, and all of a sudden it's available. And when people say, how are we in the age of Aquarius? And I'm like, look at the internet. Anything at your fingertips in the blink of a moment. Google is like the modern age oracle. You have a question, you Google it. You can get almost anything. And so that is just such a powerful tool, the internet, and how we can connect at a global
You know what?
level.
You and I have to take our break. Please stand by. Exonation. Keila Ambrose is our guest. ExploreYourSpirit.com, and we'll be back on the other side of the short break, right here in the X Zone from our broadcast center with yours truly, Rob McConnell, in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Oh, X-Zone Nation, we've got an exciting year just starting here in the X-Zone. This is our 25th year of broadcasting. Over the 25 years, we've still published the X-Chronicles newspaper each and every month. We've got a TV show. We have 5 radio channels that we supply the world with the X-Zone. We're on radio stations around the world, satellite program providers, with one very special and simple session. All we want to do is to make a positive change in one listener's life during the 4 hours that we're on. That's all. And this is why we bring on guests like Kayla Ambrose this hour, is to help us get a better understanding about the world we live in so that we can become better people and that we are part of the solution, not part of the problem. Kayla's website is exploreyourspirit.com. Her new book, The Awakened Psychic, put out by our good friends at Llewellyn. What should people look out for? What are the red flags that listeners should be wary of when trying to find a psychic that is legitimate instead of one of these call 1-900 ripoff psychics?
I think, and you talked about, the internet, and that's one of the greatest tools, is that psychics now can have websites, and you can research them. You can see what they offer and how they list it, and they should list when you ask them for a reading what their policies are and tell you, what you're going to get and what you won't get, and how much time it will be, and what they can promise. And don't be afraid to ask them. If you're for the first time, what actually can you see? What abilities do you have? Because different psychics have different abilities, and not all can do the same. And Google them as well. You can see videos of them doing their work. You mentioned earlier, like for me, that I was on John Edward Infinite Quest, I teach all over the country, and I have the videos there on my website you can watch where I'm live on John Edward. That was his internet show with callers coming in, and I'm reading them, on video or over the phone, reading their auras, reading them psychically, people I've never met that are just calling in. So you get an idea of my work and how I do it. And someone who's doing this professionally, they're going to put their work out there like that so that you can make a decision. And also, just like with anything, whether you're picking a doctor or a psychic, whatever, you need to harmonize with the person and feel comfortable with them. So, don't be afraid to ask to talk to them for a minute, or to reach out to them or email them, and make sure that their personality and the way they deliver the information is something that's going to be beneficial.
How do you see an aura over the phone or via Skype?
Oh, it's so easy, because there's 2 ways to see an aura.
Okay.
You can see it physically with the eye, which I do, and I teach people to do this, but you can also see it through your third eye, which is just like how you're seeing psychic. So I read for people all over. I have a ton of clients in Australia and in Canada and all over the place that I never get to meet face to face. But once I tap into a person's energy the minute they answer the phone, or sometimes even from their email, I already see most of their life story and their aura and what's going on. And at that point, I'm just waiting for the session to do that. And even when I read in person, Rob, I have my assistant bring the person into my office, and I'm turned around in a high back chair, and I'm not facing them. And I prefer not to look at them, and I ask them not to speak. And I open up and I give the reading what I see about them. When I'm done, then I turn around and face them and see them physically for the first time. I don't want it to distract me, what they look like, or anything like that. And I just, so that I'm open and I'm just a pure, clear channel at that point, getting what I'm getting from their energy, not from, things that, some other people, have been accused of doing, or things like that. They're looking to see if you're wearing a wedding ring or if you're frowning or whatever. So I prefer the phone where I don't know at all.
How do you avoid dependency of certain people contacting you on a regular basis? We used to have Friday nights, I'd open the lines and we'd have a guest psychic. And it came to the point where I stopped that, because you had the same people jamming the boards, always asking the same question. How do you as a professional avoid that?
I learned early on that situation. I was experiencing that. So what I do is I have an agreement with my clients that I read for them once a year, and that's it. And I tell them, I give them the year in review. I tell them what's coming up. I tell them astrologically. I tell them psychically. And I give them a roadmap for a year of everything to expect. And I tell them this should be enough for you to get through the year. And so that's the most I'll read for a person. The only time I'll read for them otherwise is if there's a big event, one of the big five, like we call it, that you're trying to buy real estate, move and sell a home, that you've got a big career change, you're looking to do something. If it's a major life event like that, or you're thinking of getting married, then I'll do a special reading for them. But otherwise, it's once a year so that they don't get dependent. Unless I'm doing coaching with them. But coaching is different. I teach people how to use their intuition to build their business, whether it's as an entrepreneur or to grow their career. But those are coaching sessions where we're working and actively doing things together. I'm not telling you, if that boyfriend's going to keep cheating on you, because yes, he is, if you're calling me for the third time.
Have you seen a difference in the type of person that would contact you, the change in the questions that are being asked? As you said, a lot of the calls are for love, job. Money is a biggie. Or are the questions getting deeper, more soul searching, more spiritual?
I think this is just part of the human condition that most questions regard health, wealth, and love. And everything cycles around those three. The difference is that, and I think I've done this that was my job to do, to express what kind of psychic I am and what you're going to receive if you work with me. And that's that I'm going to give it to you straight. And so sometimes, that can be a little hard to hear because I'm going to talk about your part in this situation as well.
Right.
And then because I'm an old wisdom teacher, that's what I first studied, was the ancient wisdom teachings and from the mystery schools. And that's about accountability and self, looking at self. Who am I? Why am I here? What's going on? So as a psychic, I take my clients on a little bit of a different journey. And so we look at what's going on in their life that they're creating, that they're doing and experiencing, which then you can then look and see how that's reflecting outwardly, whether it's in your career or your love life. And so it's a different way to look at it, but it's more empowering. And so those clients tend to come back when they have a different reading with me with more intense self-aware questions than wanting to know at a deeper spiritual level, okay, I got that, and I changed that cycle so I don't have that same relationship. So now I want to go deeper. Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? Let's explore that. So it's an evolutionary process with me, and that's just how I like to teach and work.
You mentioned the ancients. Who were these ancients, and what happened to them?
They were the mystery schools, and they're still around. They're just quiet. And that was my first book, 9 Life-Altering Lessons, Secrets of the Mystery Schools Unveiled, where I talked about those. And I studied in this lifetime with 3 different mystery schools that still teach that information. The most popular, famous ones are when we go back to ancient Egypt and we hear about those, or the Greeks and their schools of philosophy, and the old temple that still stands with the carving above it that says, "Man, know thyself." Yeah. And that's what they were dedicated to, is asking these questions. And that's the first book I wrote, the 9 Life-Altering Lessons, is what I teach my students who study the mystery school teachings. And that it was my students who begged me to write that book and say, this is what you're teaching, and not everyone can come and study with you. So can you write a book about it? And that's what I did. They're still around. They're just, mystery schools are quiet. They're not, they're not advertising a lot. They're just, that if you're seeking that information, it kind of finds you, or you find a teacher. And that's how it happened with me. And my teacher said, "You're going to teach this one day." And I said, "No, there's no way." And here I am. So, it just, if it's meant to be, it happens.
In your opinion, what has been the most awe-inspiring prediction that you yourself gave that changed a life beyond the person's belief?
Well, some I can't say, because actually a lot of my clients are in public fields.
I would not ever ask you to disclose any confidentiality. I would never do that.
Of course, yeah. a lot of them have been very rewarding like that when I help people in those situations. But the one that was a group one, I guess, was I was in a meeting one day and I was with some entrepreneurs and I was teaching them how to take their business from one store to grow it into 10 to 20 stores like they wanted. And I was giving the presentation on how I could show them to do that with future trends. And in the middle of the presentation, I got very ill and had to excuse myself. And it was like I had the flu all of a sudden. I was really sick. I had to apologize and leave. And I went home and sat down to meditate, trying to figure out what was going on. And I was seeing visions of this terrible storm and people drowning and, animals and people being hurt. It was just overwhelming. And it went on. And for several hours when I went to sleep, I was dreaming about it. And I knew it was going to be a terrible hurricane that was going to, harm a lot of people. So as a psychic, it's not really appreciated yet. There's nowhere I can't call the National Guard or
Sure.
those people won't listen to me, right? And say that. And, I was having this dream before there was even a hurricane out there, but I knew it was going to be going to hit New Orleans, and it was going to be a hurricane there that was Katrina. I didn't know it was going to be named Katrina. I knew it was a hurricane, and it was going to really be devastating to Louisiana and Mississippi. And so I let everyone know that lives in that area, and I'm from that area, so I have a lot of family and friends, and gave everyone warning to get out, and many of them told me, affected them deeply and helped them prepare for it. They took it seriously, and and it was a help. And it's a hard thing to see that, because I wanted to be able to tell anyone who would listen, and you just don't, psychic things like that just aren't taken seriously yet where you can do that. But maybe one day, because I don't enjoy seeing those things, and I'm an empath, which means I feel everything emotionally. So I was so sick because I was just experiencing the pain and the fear and the loss of life. It's very overwhelming to experience, but it's for a reason, and I'd like to be able to help people when it happens. And I don't know if you know those studies with Dr. Roger Nelson. He used to be in Princeton at the Pear Lab, and he still does them. He has these little devices they call eggs, and they're able to track. It's called the Global Consciousness Project. He's fascinating with that. And he picks up these little things. They look like a heart monitor, but they pick up things that are happening in a place in the world with these monitors, and it goes really high like an earthquake chart, and they don't know what it is. They can just tell on a global consciousness level that there's a reaction to it. The fascinating thing is he picks it up 3 days before it happens, showing that we're not really living in this time right now in third dimension. We're already experiencing it on an emotional level 3 days prior. So I've had him, I had talks with him, and just really enjoy his work, because he's putting a scientific part to it that shows what I feel inside as a psychic, and I think when science and spirituality work together, this is when we're really going to change the world.
Please stand by, Kayla. You and I have to take a break. We'll be back shortly as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. X Zone Nation, Kayla Ambrose is my guest. Her website is exploreyourspirit.com. And her new book, published by the good people at Llewellyn, is The Awakened Psychic. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Whatever you do, don't go away.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Coming soon to the X-Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randle, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X-Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randle. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Ambrose is our very special guest this hour, Exonation. She has a brand new book out that is published by our friends at Llewellyn. The name of her book is The Awakened Psychic. Now, Kayla, where can our listeners get a copy of your new book?
The book is out everywhere. Well, it will be on November 8th of this year is actually its release date. And so it's on Amazon online. It's on in Barnes & Noble. You can buy it directly from even Llewellyn's website.
Ambrose, I'm sorry, Kayla, this is a very spiritual, funny time of year. You have Halloween coming up, and it seems that people start looking into the paranormal through big eyes because Halloween is going to be here. Witches, warlocks, pumpkins. What's your take on Halloween?
I love Halloween. The fall is my favorite time of year. Really, September through December is my favorite. I love the season and the holidays. And I teach about that. If you go to my website, exploreyourspirit.com, I have a series of courses that I teach the whole year, one for each month, about the seasons. And one of them about there is Halloween, and showing why the veil does thin. And there are times of year and certain cycles, the equinoxes, the solstices, and certain times of the year like Halloween, where the veil does lift, and it's an opportunity to speak to those in spirit if you would like to. It's gotten very commercialized now, and Hollywood's put a spin on it like it does. But in reality, it's a wonderful time. And I have a course on there where I teach people if they want to communicate with loved ones who have passed, how to set the intention for that, what to do, and to set up a little group and have a dinner and invite that loved one in spirit to come to dinner if you'd like to connect with them and try to communicate with them. And it doesn't have to be a scary thing. Hollywood's made that very, sound very scary, but it's actually a very loving thing. And other cultures honor this tradition, whether it's the Day of Dead in Mexico and other places. They understand that it's a powerful time when the veils happen to be thinner. And if you want to do some talking on the other side, it's a good time to do it. Just educate yourself so that you do put some protection around you. And I call that, protecting your aura and your energy, putting the white light around you. I teach you how to do that in that video, in that course, so that, that you only communicate with those that you want to. Because like anything, just like on the internet, you have virus protection so that you're not just getting anything out there. It's the same thing when you're talking to the other side. You do want to practice psychic protection and put up a protective field and then go talk to who you want to.
Is there any danger of someone who is not a practiced psychic like you are, or as a trained medium, that if they were to try to communicate with someone on the other side, that they could be fooled, bamboozled, and end up opening up a can of worms that they really don't want to open?
Yes, and I think that's with anything. It pays to be educated. If you've never invested before and you don't research, how best to put your money, where to put it, whether it's a bank or an investment company, you can be fooled by someone who says they're going to treat your money well and they take off with it, or any practical application in life. It's always good to take a little time and get educated to know what to do so that you get the best results possible. Or you can learn the hard way, the school of hard knocks, which is what you're describing.
Yeah. If somebody is practicing and they don't have the right amount of experience and they do bring something across that should not be brought across, how do they reverse it? Is there a way that they can undo this unwanted visitor, or should they call an expert like yourself to help them reset everything, so to speak?
Well, it depends on what it is that they've brought across. There's different things. Some things, don't have much energy, so they come for a minute, and maybe it's a unsettling experience, but that's all the energy they could produce, and it's gone. If you're looking into it at that point where you're learning a ritual to open that door and do those kind of things, then you should probably look into the rest of it and do learn the protective parts. Because just dabbling with it like that, we've all heard stories about people that do that, whether it's a Ouija board or they read something on the internet and tried something and open a door that they couldn't close. And many times, yes, people aren't able to close that door by themselves and put things back. So it is good to enlist the help of someone if you do that. But the better option is don't do it. Learn first, and then, go do, so that you don't have that experience, and so that it can be a very life-affirming, wonderful experience, where you're communicating with the people that you want to.
A lot of people, when they think of mediumship, they think of a Ouija board. What is your professional opinion of Ouija boards? Are they as dangerous as people claim? Should they be burned? Should they be tossed out of a house where they're found? Or should they just be looked at as another divination tool?
I don't use Ouija boards, and I don't recommend them, mainly because people are opening up using that, and they're the way it's designed, with the intention when they're there. It's people usually that haven't learned, some of the protective things, a good defense, I guess, that you need to have.
Sure.
So it opens up to bring things around, and they do become troublesome. And, I've talked with Lorraine Warren and Ed Lorraine Warren, if you know about their
Sure.
work. They worked on the Amityville Horror and all that. She and I have talked about that with the Ouija board and the problems. And, Ed's gone now. It's just Lorraine, but she's got that museum there full of things like that, and where things have had things attached to them, and they've become a big problem for people. I don't know about burning them if it's necessary. I just say don't use them. But I will tell you, I do have one that I keep, but I don't have the planchette with it. The planchette's the little thing you move around.
Yeah.
But I use it for Halloween parties, and I serve appetizers on it. And the joke is like, let's see if they'll move around.
And do they?
No, they move too quick off the board with people's hands. So it's just it's a fun little thing for a Halloween party. But I don't recommend using them in practice. There's much better, safer, and more clear communicative ways to do that type of work if it's something that you want to do, where you can, speak with someone directly, and you're protected in the white light. You're asking specifically. I teach about that. I have courses in my school with that. I have 6 weeks of psychic school where I teach you all of this through video that you can download and watch, and show you safely how to do it, including how to astral travel, how to go the other side and see your Akashic records, how to interact with your spirit guides, and go to the higher planes where you don't need something like a Ouija board to do it.
For someone starting out who would like to become a psychic and follow the route that you and I have been talking today about, where can they go? What should they do? And how long will it take them to be part of the world that you are?
Well, of course, I'm going to say come to exploreyourspirit.com and
I was
read
hoping
my
you'd
books
say
and
that,
take
sure.
the courses. But but there's lots of great teachers out there. So I say, find the person that you resonate with, that your energetically feels like the right teacher for you. And there's lots of good teachers out there doing this good work. So, you can find them. As to how much time it takes, it depends on the person, how ready you are for it, how much energy you have towards it, and how much work you're going to put into it to practice and to learn. And, it's at different levels. And so you have to think of it as a personal practice, that it'll take what it takes in the time for you. And like everything, we could all decide we're going to learn to play piano tomorrow and all take the lessons, but one person's just going to be a natural or prodigy, and they're going to play better than all of us no matter what we do, and we have to accept that. And the rest of us will probably do pretty well, and some of us won't do that great, and a lot of that is because, maybe we're not really into practicing when we get home, or it sounded good but we lost interest. So it's, where you fall into that really depends on you and your abilities and what you brought back with you from other lifetimes, which that's what I think a prodigy is. When you see those kids that come back and play violin,
Sure.
like a master at 5 years old, they're coming back from a past life where they've been playing violin for a long, long time, and they're just carrying that over. And some of us have those abilities, and I remembered my past lives when I was little. I was telling my parents about it, how I lived before and what I did, and where I taught in this temple. They didn't know what to think, but I remembered it, and you can learn to do that, to open up and remember your past lives and see what you're taking with you, which helps you define your purpose of what you're doing here in this lifetime and why you have the skills you do. Rob, you talked about being a former police officer, and if you trace yours back, I'm sure you have a strong sense of justice and fairness, and probably times as a knight and someone in shining armor,
Wow.
protection and caring. And so when you open up to that, you see, okay, why do I have these longings to do this career or to be this person?
What are your final words for the X-Zone Nation tonight?
That all of you are psychic. Everyone is psychic. And if you're ready, you can open up and explore. And it's not scary. It's fun. It's interesting. You can take it as far as you want. Don't confuse it with what we were talking about earlier, about mediumship. That's different, talking to spirits. Psychic is just about tapping into your intuition and helping you to make good decisions about your life, your love, your career, and about the future. It doesn't have to be woo-woo or scary, and you don't have to do any, odd type of rituals or wear a turban or burn incense or anything else.
Just be yourself.
Yes, and just open up to the possibilities.
Kayla, you and I have to say so long for tonight. I do want to thank you ever so much for joining us. As always, a great pleasure talking to you. And once again, congratulations on your new book. And I look forward to the next time you join us back here in the X Zone. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you so much.
X Zone Nation, Kayla Ambrose has been our guest this hour. If you'd like to find out more about Kayla, visit her website at exploreyourspirit.com. And if you'd like to get a copy of The Awakened Psychic, it's going to be available everywhere, including llewellyn.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.